Okay, so today I'm going to be looking at this cheap tool I've just bought. It's come from one of the big suppliers of cheap tools. Sure you can guess who. Is it worth it? Is it worth spending money on something fairly inexpensive? Does it do the job, or is it just a paperweight, a piece of junk? Let's find out. So here's a test straight out of the box. I've taken the fences off and I'm just going to try using it as a block plane. So I've checked there's a blade protruding and I'm using it on this piece of cherry. So let's see if straight out of the box it takes a cut. So minor adjustment, try and protrude the blade slightly further. It's definitely protruding, but still no cut. It's either very dull or manufactured incorrectly, or for some other reason it's simply not cutting. Give it one more try with far too much blade protruding, see if that does anything. No, it's still not cutting. It's going to take a bit of work to get this to function properly. Okay, so now I've reattached the fences to either side of the plane, and the screws that bolt into the sides don't seat fully and are quite difficult to turn. There's clearly something wrong with the way this has been manufactured. It should be able to be fully tightened by hand and loosened by hand. After all, that's how these function. So I'm going to have a look, see if I can work out what the problem is with this. Now, I don't know if you can see inside of the hole, but the threads in there are coated with this anodized top layer. So I suspect they may have been tapped prior to the anodized coating going on, and that's why it's resisting the bolt going in. So it's a relatively simple process to find a matching tap and just clean out the threads, and then we'll try it again. Now there's a lot of resistance in this one, so I am going to have to use the handle and put slightly more pressure on it. But that's clearly why the bolt wasn't turning. It needs clearing out. And that's worked. That's all it needed to open up the threads and have it functioning properly. Okay, now I'm going to dismantle the plane and see if I can work out how to get this to function correctly. I'm going to sharpen the blade and just check everything is turning correctly. It's not a brilliant check, but the plane looks to be fairly flat. I'm I'm not going to sand it or try and lap it and make it any flatter than it already is. Now, when I started woodworking, I would have considered this blade to be sharp. However, after a bit of practice, I realised that this is nowhere near as sharp as it needs to be to work as a plane. So I'm going to have to flatten the back and then make sure the bevel's correct. And because it's a small plane, I can get away with using this small diamond stone, just 400 grit, and I think it's an 800 grit, something like that. But that should be enough for a plane of this size. Now, every plane I've ever bought has needed sharpening like this. I don't consider this a problem for a cheap tool. I think it's just generally that most manufacturers don't send out sharp tools sharp enough to work straight out of the box. And if you realise that, then a lot of the problems you encounter when you take a tool out of the box can be solved fairly quickly. So I'm curious what you think about this, and leave a message in the comments. Would you prefer manufacturers to provide a sharp tool and maybe the tool costs slightly more? Or are you happy to do this sort of thing yourself? After all, you're going to be doing it throughout the life of the tool. Okay, so sharpening the back didn't take very long. That went pretty quickly, and it'll be easy to redo that when it's needed. Now I'm just maintaining the bevel at the angle it already has on it, but just sharpen it to give it a better surface, and we'll see if that makes the difference. I'll probably put a slight micro bevel on the front as well, just to help a little bit more. Okay, so I've set this up as I would do for most block planes. It's got a sharp blade in, it's protruding very slightly. I'll try it on the cherry I was using earlier. And it is cutting, only very slightly at this stage, it's not protruding very far. I'll take a few small shavings just to check that it's working across the full width of the blade, and then I'll protrude slightly more and see if it makes any difference. Okay, now I've protruded the blade slightly more. This is going to be a fairly heavy cut on the cherry. I'll see how it performs with that. It does have quite a bit of resistance, but it does go through quite well. It's taking fairly thick shavings. And the surface of the wood it's leaving is very good. It's got a very nice finish. So, yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with that. Okay, so now we've had a look at it. What do you think? Would you buy something like this? Or would you stick to the major brands and spend 10, 20 times the price on something similar?